Welcome to the Wonders of Watercolour. My name is Ray Campbell, and every week here on this channel we bring you fresh new tutorials so that you can join in and paint along with us step by step, no matter what your level of watercolour painting. Now, I've got quite a few scraps of paper in my paper supply, little bits of paper that I've maybe used, cut to size and had a little bit left over. It seems a shame to waste them, so I thought I'd make this tiny little painting which you can maybe make into a card or a bookmark or whatever you want to do. So I've done a little outline here. Now, if you don't like drawing and you want to join in with us, we do provide you with a little trace down that will come like this, which you can cut out and print to size, whichever size you want to. And once you've got the size that you want, you can scribble on the back and just trace it down this way using the old school method of just using a pencil like this. Now, you can obtain these outlines for completely free over on my free version of Patreon, and I will link it in the description box underneath the video, and you'll also find the Patreon link on the main channel page of my channel on the home page there if you want to check that out. I'm just using a handful of colours today. You'll need a yellow, an orange, a brown, a green and a grey, and that's all you'll need. I'm using paints from Deep Light today, just 6 colours as you can see here. I may not use all of them, but these are the colours that I've picked out, but use any colours that you have that are near to the colours that I've chosen for this tutorial. Any brand will do. Now, something I need to touch upon, the fact that I'm putting a paid promotion tag on the top of the screen at the top of each video where I'm using a brand endorsement, in this instance Deep Light. So I have to put the paid promotion tab on the screen because I do get a commission, and I am giving you a discount code for any paints that you buy from this brand with the code that you'll see on your screen right now. I'm only using them because I like them. These are my own views and I'm not scripted or paid to say nice things about the brand. I use them because I love them. So with that out of the way, let's press on with our first wash. I'm going to start off with mixing a few colours here. Now, I've got a ceramic palette here and some clean water. So I'm going to add a little puddle in the middle there. This is a great way of cleaning your brush without flooding it with water from your jar. So we're going to have a few little drops of water, and I'm going to start mixing a yellow colour and an orange colour to begin with. I'm going to be using my number 8 pointed round. This is from my own set from Craft-A-Mo, and at the time of filming this video, and I do film quite a bit in advance, we only had about 30 sets or so left. It may be when I launch this video that we are now sold out. So if you were able to grab yourself a box, congratulations. They were limited edition, and I will link them down below just in case we have got some left. Right, I'm going to start mixing up a yellow colour. The colour that I've chosen is Mirabelle. If you've bought my Raised Blooms palette set from Deep Light, this is one of the colours that you'll find in that set. It's a lovely yellow colour with a little bit of orange in there. Very vibrant and very bright. I'm going to add a little bit there. To the second wash, I'm going to add another colour. This is an orange tone called Rosehip. And again, if you've bought my Raised Blooms palette, you'll see the little picture of it on your screen now from Deep Light. This is a colour that you'll have in that set also. Caput Mortum, again, all from Deep Light. Right, I'm going to be working wet in wet. That means that I'm going to apply water onto the paper and then drop in my colour after I've done that. And we're going to pick up the water and just take it over all over the flower head like this. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. By the way, you can see a little measurement that I've got here on the bottom of the sheet of paper. It's 6 by 22 centimetres approximately, and I'm using a rough surface paper. I tend to use Arches rough surface because I like the brand. I find that it's great for layering paint. So just use whatever your favourite watercolour paper is, or if you've got any offcuts, as I'm using here, a great way to make use of them. And of course, these make great little practice pieces. I'm just taking that water, which is slightly tinged with yellow, but it doesn't matter because we are going to be dropping yellow in, to that pencil line using my number 8 brush. We are going to be dropping the paint in where we apply that water. This will give your painting a really nice soft effect. Now, depending on your climate or the warmth or coolness of your room that you're working in, that will define how long you need to wait to drop your pigment in. So when you're doing wet in wet, you'll see that there is a little bit of a glisten on the paper. If it's too shiny, it's too soon to drop in that pigment. It's a little bit glossy here, so I'm just leaving that settle a minute. While I'm waiting for that to settle in, I'm going to take Solstice Fern, which is a lovely green colour, and we can just have that there on the side. I'm going to size down to my number 2 brush. Again, this is from my set from Craftamo. This is, it hasn't got a fine point, it's just a lovely, everyday, kind of finer detail brush. And I'm going to just mix a tiny bit more of that Mirabelle. And we're just going to start dropping this colour in. It's a super vibrant colour, and you can see that I'm just patting and releasing that pigment, and it will go where I've put that water. So we're just going to drop that in. It's super bright with a little bit more of the Mirabelle just to add a little bit of variation. This little exercise is great if you're new to watercolour painting because it gives you a little bit of practice work to do without being too fussy of getting a really strong, bold watercolour painting. No fuss, no detail, no stress. That's what we're all about in this tutorial. We do have over 200 free tutorials here on our YouTube channel now. There's quite a lot to look through. And we've got playlists as well. So if you like painting, say, roses or tulips, we've got a separate playlist on those, which you'll find on the homepage. So just take a look at those if you want to check them out. They're all free and they're all full length, so you can learn to paint as you paint. Where applicable, we give you free outlines. It's worth mentioning at this point that our older ones, our older videos, you will find the free outlines on our Facebook group, but the newer ones, certainly for the last 2 years, will be over on Patreon. So you can join Patreon for free, and I'll link it in the description box. Join our free membership level. There's no obligation to join our paid membership, but of course we'd love to see you there. So in case you want to really level up your painting game, let's just take a little look to see what you get. When you join Patreon, you will have access to exclusive content that you just won't find here on YouTube. Whether you're a seasoned artist or just dipping your brush into botanical watercolour, you may want to join us here on Patreon, where the magic happens. And with Patreon's new collections tab, it makes accessing the tutorials super easy. When you join us here on Patreon, we dive deep into the art of botanical watercolours, from vibrant blooms to fine detail, and I'm here to guide you every step of the way. We have 3 membership levels to suit your skill and budget, and we even have a mentorship and coaching level, so if you're serious about developing your skills, then this could be the level for you. And now you can join Patreon for free, which will give you access to all of our YouTube traceables, which will be delivered weekly to your inbox, so no more scrolling through for the images. So if you are ready to embark on a watercolour adventure, unlock exclusive content, and join a community that celebrates the beauty of botanicals, hit that join button, which I will link in the description. Leave and join our Patreon at any time, and if you are a paid member, you don't need to join that free level to get our outlines that will be given to you as my gift. Right, I've applied that yellow wash. I'm just taking a little bit of the orangey tone. This is Rosehip, so any orange that you've got will do. I'm just going to drop this in here and there to give that variation. Nothing too fussy. I'm going to clean my brush and go to the Caput Mortum. I'm also going to mix a tiny bit of Asphalt, but you could use Payne's Grey or something like that, or any brown that you've got really. It doesn't really matter. But if you did want to treat yourself to these, head over to Deep Deep Light, quote in the code DeepDeepRay, and you'll be able to get a 10% discount on all of their beautiful watercolours. They are special paints. They're handmade by 2 lovely ladies over in Latvia, and they are an absolute delight to work with. Not only are their paints really special, but their customer care is second to none, and for me that means a lot. I'm dropping this in, cleaning my brush, picking up the Asphalt and just dropping that in as well. You'll notice how that's taking it into the flower, giving it a really loose look. I'm taking up a little bit of Solstice Fern, and I'm applying this straight to the stem, wet on dry, with my number 2 size brush. Watercolour is all about layering up your paints, so you need to be a little bit patient and let each layer dry before applying the next, if you want to build up your colours and have a really nice watercolour effect. So just take this down And then clean your brush, pat it on your kitchen paper with that damp brush, and then just blending it into the paper like this to give it a nice soft blurred edge here. And just letting it gently go into that area. On this little one here, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to add water all over my number 2 brush. You could add a few more of these if you wanted to, just to really sort of zhuzh it up a little bit. So just paint this on. You could use cadmium yellow instead of the Mirabelle. You could use transparent orange instead of Rosehip. Just have a look to see what you've got in your kit. If you've got a yellow, if you've got an orange and a green or a brown, you can join in with us, okay? You don't have to be too fussy. I'm going to just use my blender brush, again for my set, because you'll notice that this paint is now blurring into that little petal there. I don't really want that, so I'm just using that brush just to lift that out a little bit. This is a great brush for sorting out any errors that you may have. Maybe if you want to add a little bit of lift out, anything like that. It's just a great way to tidy up your edges. Because it's got a curved edge, it works in a really precise way. Oftentimes we see blender brushes or eradicator brushes with a straight edge, but I designed this with a curve so that you can get into the corners and into the roundness of your petals. So it's a really good all-rounder for blending and lifting out. So I'm getting hold of that yellow colour again and just dropping this on really casually, not too fussy. Just letting it go into that little flower. I have done a really strong outline on these flowers, but when you're drawing yourself, you want this outline to be just about visible. You don't want a strong outside edge, but for the purpose of filming, I've made it a little bit more visible so that you can see where I'm applying that paint. Okay, and now I'm going to the Caput Mortum. This is a lovely brown colour, just dropping in the middle like that, and then to the Asphalt and the same, and just dropping it in like that. At this point, we've done our first wash, and we need to let this dry completely before going in with our other layers. So I'm just going to stop painting for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and do our second layer as soon as it's dry. The paint is now dry, and you can see how it's blurred into the edges of the wet paint. So we need to build these colours up to give them a little bit more definition. So I'm going in with my number 2 brush. So this is how it looks. We're going to get it nice and clean in the puddle of water there. By using this small puddle of water, by the way, and pressing my brush, it just means that I'm not flooding it in the bigger jar here that you can see just off camera there. It just makes it a lot easier to handle. So let's take a little look at this one first. I'm going to Rosehip, and I'm going to just add a little puddle of this here. We've got a nice orange tone at the top. So looking at this, again, we're going to keep it nice and light and fluid. So we're going to just add a little bit of water in the middle. Caput Mortum, give it a little bit of a mix. This is a lovely separating colour. And then just drop it in, just like that. And we want it to look nice and soft. And then go into the Asphalt. Asphalt is a beautiful colour, by the way. It's one of those dual granulations that you can get where you're applying the colour wet and wet. It really separates out beautifully. So just dropping that in as well, taking off the excess on my kitchen paper, and then I'm just kind of tickling the outside edge just to give it that kind of textured look. Just putting out those shapes to give it that little bumpy outline there. Okay, cleaning my brush. And then picking up a little mixture here of all the orangey yellowy tones. And into this wet paint, I'm just going to drop in that colour like this onto one or two of them. Picking up that colour and just letting it go into this darker value in the middle. Dropping it in. It's still wet. Cleaning my brush, patting it dry. And then I'm just going to start pulling this line up so that we've got this nice soft edge. So this little exercise is all about experimenting with your paints, using up your scrap papers and not being too fussy with the end result. It's all about practice, and you can even make yourself a nice little You can make it into a gift card, you can make it a bookmark, whatever you want to, but it's all about getting that practice in and finding out which colours you like the best out of your set, or it could just be that you really enjoy just playing around with watercolour as I do. I'm adding a little bit more of that yellow. I do feel that it's looking a little bit muddy on my mix there, so I'm just going to add a cleaner mix here. I think my brush was a little bit dirty. So just adding a few of the stronger values here and there. This is Mirabelle or Mirabella. And we're just building up a few more layers, keeping it nice and simple. Back to the asphalt, dropping it in. And you can see how it's coming to life now, building those up. Let's take a look at this one. Once again, I'm going to go to that middle puddle and add in water. Just plain water. My puddle of water in the middle here is looking a little bit discoloured, but that's okay because this is going to be a darker shade. So just adding that in, still using my number 2 brush. And once again, Caput Mortum and Asphalt. It just gives a little bit of that variation. And I'm just dropping in that colour. And it just gives it that lovely soft. And again, you can pull it into the edges and push it out just to give it that little bit of a textured look, because it's not a solid shape. I'm going to go back over here as well. There we go. You can pull a few more out like that. Going back to the yellow and the orange, and we can put a few darker lines in. We've got a little fold here, so we can go around that fold. Paint in the middle bit, cleaning my brush, patting it dry, and then I'm just going to blend this into that dry wash that we've done. So this is blending it into the paint that we applied on the first section. And you can see that you get this nice transition. Go again, this is Mirabelle. We can do it coming down here. I haven't kept the photograph that I'm working from on screen today, but you can also grab that over on Patreon if you want to see that. Sometimes it takes up a bit too much real estate on screen, and sometimes I just don't want to do it. I think it looks, you can just do this without, you don't need it particularly, but if you did want it, you can have it for free. My gift to you over on Patreon on our free membership level, so check it out if you want to have that. Sometimes I put them in screen and sometimes I don't. Today I'm not going to do that. So you should be able to follow along with me anyway, and like I said, you can grab it for free on Patreon. So just taking this colour and just working in between one or two of these. This is Rosehip. So just keep adding. This just gives it a bit of tonal contrast. Like I said, this isn't going to be a super botanical piece. It's just going to be playing around with paint and just seeing where it takes us. This is kind of a nice little exercise to do, or maybe a Sunday afternoon if you don't really feel like painting. I'm just taking a little bit of that green colour there. This is Solstice Fern. I haven't used the chrome green yet. I don't know whether I will. I'm just going to add a little bit of this Solstice Fern to the outside of one or two of the petals, because on the photograph you'll see that it has got a little bit of green on there. So grab yours for free over on Patreon. And remember, if you want to upgrade your membership to our paid membership level, then we'd love to see you. So if you want to really level up your painting, this is all our botanical paintings are over there. We will launch on the 2nd of every month a brand new full-length tutorial. You won't find them on YouTube. They are just for my patrons, and they're full-length, and they're broken down into different pieces so that you can paint along at your own pace. And it's for everybody, so it doesn't matter what level you're at, you can join in with us, and hopefully you can even join our mentorship level, because if you want to really improve your painting, we have a coaching level, which is our Rose membership. So check it out. As mentioned before, I'll link it in the description box. So we've added a little bit more of that Rosehip and a little bit of that Solstice Fern, and I'm just making this up really. I'm just adding a bit of detail here and there. If you wanted to add a bit more detail or texture to the centre, you can go ahead. This is Asphalt, dropping it in, Actually, I think I will try a little bit of that chrome green, so I've put it in there. I'm going to mix it to the Solstice Fern, and I'm going to apply it to the top. So a great way of using up your scrap paper, and also a great way of practicing. So I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to that as we come down. And we've brightened up the top part as we come down, blending it into that initial wash. I'm going to just add a tiny bit of that Caput Mortum, just to drop it into the outside edge. And it's just good practice. If you did want to treat yourself to these lovely paints from Deep Deep Light, I will link the website in the description box. And remember to make the most of that discount code, Deep Deep Ray. You get 10% off all paints. And they are lovely. Maybe you're looking for a little Christmas treat for yourself. That would be such a lovely present to have. These are handmade, and I absolutely love them. So I'm picking up Caput Mortum just to go in between one or two of the petals here, just to redefine some of the lines in between. Strengthening up. Moving that to the side. And just coming down here. So you can be as bold or as subtle as you want to. But by adding the Caput Mortum to the middle, it just gives it that other dimension. And you can start to create some shapes. And I'm going to call this finished. I don't want to play around with it too much. For a practice piece, I think it's come out rather well. And it's a great way of utilising your scrap paper rather than just using it for swatching. And it's good practice to get these little paintings in. So head over to Patreon and grab your free outline as well as the reference photograph. You can cut them to size and paint them. You can paint them bigger if you want to. The choice is yours. And if you have enjoyed this video, I'm almost forgetting my housekeeping. If you have enjoyed this video, could I ask you to give it a thumbs up? Underneath, you can hit that like button. I'd really appreciate your support. It takes a second and it means a lot to me. You may want to consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification, because then you'll be notified every week when I upload new content, and you won't miss out on these fabulous free tutorials that we give you right here on YouTube. All free. My gift to you to get you painting. And if you're nervous about watercolour, then these are the paintings for you, because you can just join in with us and get that practice in. Thank you for watching. I'm Ray Campbell. This is The Wonders of Watercolour, and I'll see you soon.